It's a blessing to welcome on one of the former JuCo players and unranked players now, made a successful story for himself, and now the newest member of Memphis, Davion Warren. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good, man. Just chilling. How about you?
Pretty good. Well, as I just said, you've got a crazy story that's put this all pieces together now, but we know the next chapter that God's got in store for you is at Memphis for your final college year. How excited are you for this now?
I'm pretty excited. It's somewhere in my mind. I feel like I should have been at as a freshman.
hmm
So, I'm ready to take on this task.
We're going to get into Memphis a little bit more in the end, but I really want to go through this whole story for you because I want Memphis fans to get to know you a little bit better. And like I said, you've got a crazy journey. You come out of high school, no offers. You go the JuCo route, Hampton for 2 years, then Memphis. But let's head all the way back because you're from New York originally. What was it like growing up out there?
I like to say Buffalo, New York. Like, I don't like to say New York because, it's just a big argument about that. But I said I'm from Buffalo, and, it's kind of rough there. You know,
hmm
you either, you're either going to do the street life or you're going to, play basketball, play some type of sports. In Buffalo, we don't have too many people that's going to college for just to go to college. You know what I'm saying? We don't have people like that. It's pretty rough. So I chose the route to play basketball. That's just something I felt like I was passionate about, something that I love, and I naturally went that route.
As you mentioned, that we see a lot of situations where growing up in that environment, you can go either route. But as you said, you've chosen the basketball route. Was that difficult for you? Or was there some people in your life that kind of helped push you in that way, kind of help mentor you in that direction? Or what kind of led you to keep kind of on the right path?
Um, it's just pretty much it's just what something I wanted to do. I mean, I seen my peers, I seen my friends pass away from being in the streets, and I've seen so many people not be successful in sports because of the streets, and that has so much talent that once they go back home, sometimes they get in trouble,
hmm
and which made me want to go to because I wanted to be different. I wanted to be able to show the younger generation that playing basketball and going to school, this stuff is cool to do. Like, and coming from Buffalo, like I said, it's not too many people that's doing it, and I want to be an example of that people can talk about.
So was this something like growing up that kind of helped put the basketball in your life, or when did you start playing it?
I'm actually the youngest of two brothers and a sister. So, I watched them play sports, and my dad plays sports. So basketball pretty much is always around.
hmm
So I just took my own time and start crafting on my own and start going to the park on my own early mornings to shoot or just playing with my friends. Start doing a lot of stuff on my own. Then I started traveling and stuff from basketball like AAU, starting to realize like basketball can do so much more for you. So that's it pretty much.
At what point in your life would you say you started realizing, like, okay, I really love this game. This is the game that I love, and I really want to pursue it?
Uh, one time, I say my senior year of high school. Basketball, I played AAU and stuff like that. Wasn't getting recruited, didn't really know too much. I was just playing, and I just had a breakout year my junior year. I
hmm
averaged 22 points and 14 rebounds. So I that's when I realized, like, yo, I had worked so hard to get to that point where it's like, if I turn it up a notch or really get serious with this, skies could be the limit for me. Like, so that's when I realized basketball can be me.
I was reading a story about you and your first couple years of high school. Obviously, you started going down to different things. You started to realize, okay, I'm not successful. It's not what the path I really want to go down. I'm talking to Coach Randall, and he really sets you up where he goes to a different school, and that's really where you create your name for yourself. You have your breakout season out there, Bishop Timon. Take us through the whole situation. Like, what ultimately led you to transfer to really set yourself up in basketball?
I mean, it's no knock to the public school I was at, you know what I'm saying?
hmm
Because that's a good school for kids that go there and that's trying to make it out from there.
hmm
I tried to follow one of my brother's footsteps. He went to, it's called, the name of the school is McKinley High School. He
hmm
went to McKinley High School. His senior year, they won the state championship. So, I wanted to come in and do the same thing like right off the bat. End up going there, I played JV and which was cool, junior varsity. Then I played university again my sophomore year, which I kind of felt like I should have been on the varsity level because I was dominating the JV level. So and I just seen a bunch of kids that come from that school that came from that state championship team that I seen not go to college, not go anywhere or just, a lot of kids at that school really don't care about what I cared about. So I seen a different route. I knew Coach Randall since I've been in the seventh grade. So
Mhm.
once I heard he got the job at Timon, he had called me to come play AAU with him for a little bit. So I called Dez and told him like I need to transfer just because if I got aspects of trying to play basketball at the next level, whether that's college, NBA, overseas, or just wherever,
Mhm.
I won't be able to do it here because like at McKinley, I was skipping classes, like my grades weren't best. So, I knew that if I get into an environment like at Bishop Timon where that's not gonna be allowed or, you'll get kicked out. You know what I'm saying? And I knew if I get kicked out, my parents would be mad. At
Mhm.
McKinley, I could skip school and stuff like that, maybe get a phone call home, that's different. But being kicked out of a school is a big difference. So I
Mhm.
went to Timon after McKinley, and the grind was just different. Like it was mandatory workouts, mandatory lifts. Like we had a schedule, we had a binder of plays, a binder of what our conduct is as a team, and it just was different, and it gave me the feel like of how college is gonna be for me. So he pretty much paved the way for me to understand what I understand now in college.
You said something interesting. Your first 2 years you spent on JV. That's something that when we look at now, you're going to be a guy that's going to be starting at Memphis that coming year, a team that could be a top 25 team heading into the year. You just
Right.
averaged over 20 points per game at the college level. A lot of people might think that for a guy of that caliber, probably was not playing JV ever. That he's probably a guy that played easily varsity his whole career. What leads to that story? Like, how much did that fuel you being a guy that played JV, not just 1 year, but 2 years? How much did that kind of fuel you for your career now?
Um, it fuels me a lot because like I feel like till this day I'm still probably top five most underrated college basketball players. I feel like even though I played in the Big South, or people may say, well, he did it in this conference and that conference. To me, it's all basketball. Like
Yep.
I'm saying, my ball bounces the same way as it bounces in the ACC and the SEC.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much it's just a grind. Like this is something I want to do. I'm gonna go do it. If you want to buy a Ferrari, you don't got enough money. You're gonna save up as much money. You don't care how many years it takes. You're gonna save up as much money as you can to buy that Ferrari. So
Mm-hmm.
that's how it pretty much is for me. I'm gonna do whatever it takes to make sure I get to that level. And it's starting to pay off. And to me, I'm not satisfied yet at all. Like this is shocking to everybody else, but to me, in my head, I'm like, I've been knew I could do this. And this is all cockiness aside. Like I feel like I've been knowing this, and to the people, it's like it's starting to showcase now. So now it's driving me to go harder because now I got the attention on me now that I've always dreamed of and wanted. So now it's time to go harder and achieve more dreams.
The senior year then for yourself was really a big breakout year. 22 and
Yeah.
14, 18-7 overall record for you guys. Successful year. And at the end of the day, you still don't have a Division One offer. You have some JUCOs. You have your Division Two offer on the table.
Yep.
What was going through your mind at that point?
Um, what was going through my mind at that point where I said from my junior to my senior, I switched roles as a player.
Mm-hmm.
Junior year of high school, I was more of I didn't have a position. I wasn't a guard, but I wasn't a big either. So I was positionless. Senior year, I started to develop into more of a three-man, kind of a three-man that didn't have much ball handles. So I pretty much just just kept working. I knew that well from this year and this year I took a big gap because I worked hard. So I knew that to not settle for not knocking Division 2, but I knew that if I go JuCo, I can go Division 2. I would say regardless, if I have a decent year, I can go Division 2. But if I have a solid year, we're winning, and I look good enough to Division 1 schools, I can go Division 1. But mind you, throughout this whole process, I went to a junior college I didn't take a visit to. I didn't know what the school looked like. I was just basically going off coach's word, Coach Mike Burrs. So I pretty much just took the JUCO route because I knew a couple guys who went JUCO that didn't go D1. That I knew a couple guys that went JUCO and then came back home. D2 just wasn't the option for me. Like that just wasn't it because I feel like I can play at the Division 1 level. I just needed exposure, so I decided to go JUCO.
Now that is something that we know that is not meant for everybody. There's some guys, like you said, that don't make it in JUCO. There's gonna be guys that careers are ultimately done after 2 years there. How does
Right.
that kind of grain you? Because we know JuCo is a whole nother level of team where you truly just create that dog mentality in guys. Because like I said, you want your teammates to be successful, but at the same time, you want that spot and there's not that many spots available. So what's the
Right.
mentality like? What's the environment like of a JuCo basketball player?
Uh, as a JuCo basketball player, like I would give the advice to somebody is make sure you. I mean, it depends what JuCo you at, because I mean, a lot of JuCos are corrupted, so that's why players can't go on or have to settle for D2 or But for the JuCos that aren't corrupted and for the players that's there, like you have to build bond with your teammates, and you have to all come together. Like we're only gonna get noticed if we win. There's kids in JuCo that average 3 points, maybe 5 rebounds, maybe 2 assists, but is on the top 5 team in the country in JuCo. They're gonna go Division 1 because they bought into the system. So my thing was to be individually ready, but also show that you can play at the next level. That's all JuCo is to me. That they want to see if you can play at the next level. So I pretty much would just tell them like, stay individually ready, but also show that you can play at the next level. Because that school that's looking for a score or whatever, they'll find you from JuCo. Like if they want a mature score, they'll come get you from JuCo.
You mentioned the corrupt part, and I know we've heard some stories about that, but kind of explain that a little bit more. Like, what angles are they corrupt in? Like, what's some of the stuff that some of those JUCO schools do?
I mean, they just sell some of the kids, tell them I can get you here. Well, I got this player here. I got this player, this and that, or this amount of Division 1 schools are coming to see us play. When it probably was like that because of one player. You know what I'm saying? When you're not getting that because of you. Like at my JUCO, we were getting colleges come in just because of my coach. So other than that, we had to do what we had to do, perform, play hard. We did that. We all went D1. Like four of us went Division 1 on my JUCO team. All the sophomores, besides I think one, went Division 1. So and we all pretty much had decent years. Nobody had a crazy outstanding year. Like nobody on my team averaged 20 points.
And if we go back then, when you're talking about yourself as a senior coming out of a New York area, Buffalo, where you have obviously this entire situation where we know New York's one of the more heavier recruited areas. That's this hot spot of basketball. There's a lot of talent from that state. Overall,
Right.
though, what was your original thoughts at that point in time? Did you think you're still going to make it to Division 1? Did you think that you were going to be a guy that could be starting at Memphis eventually? Did you think all this stuff would still happen?
Uh, I didn't know. It's crazy because out of going into JUCO, I thought I was gonna go to a big school. Going out of JUCO, that was my mindset. I'm gonna go to JUCO and I'm gonna go to a Power 5 school. Or I'm gonna go to a very well-known school. That was my mindset coming out of JUCO. So, yeah, I kind of thought that, but it didn't happen in that way. I went to Hampton. I chose to go to Hampton. Hampton is not the biggest school. It's not the smallest school. It's a kind of well-known school. When I got to Hampton, they were changing over to the Big South, so that kind of caught my attention. With all this cops brutality and stuff, Black Lives Matter and stuff, that caught my attention too. Why not go play for HBCU? So that's what I pretty much wanted to do.
I'm gonna go a little bit deeper before we get into Hampton in terms of the JUCO level and talk about that team out there. You have a pretty solid season. Like you said, though, it's overall a lot different. Where some guys are still able to go out there and score a ton of points. That's an exception, but
Right,
a lot of guys it is a little bit more narrowed down a lot because a lot of times it's a lot harder defense, a lot more heavier game plan, almost like
right,
college to a degree. But when you're looking at that teammate atmosphere, as I said earlier, you want your teammates to be successful. You want you guys to be a team, have to win games still, but you do know that at the end of the day, you want your career to continue past these 2 years. It's kind of a
right,
competition there.
yeah.
How would you kind of work that out? And what's that like, kind of knowing that you kind of are battling with your teammates at the same time?
You got to take your opportunities you're getting at that moment and make them happen because it's JUCO now. So I would say like you have to be as much consistent as you can. So like I would say at JUCO, you may have a guy that averages 20 points per game in JUCO. Get to the Division 1 level, it averages 5 or probably not playing. And then like you may get this guy that averages 7 points at JUCO, 10 points at JUCO, goes to college now he's averaging 15 and 20 points. Like you have to just keep working. It's pretty much just knowing your individual self, knowing what you can do, but sacrificing your individual work so you can get seen. So now once you get seen and get on that stage, now you could show what you got.
And when you look at that entire time in terms of your development, you kind of get in that dog mentality. I think you kind of had a little bit too from just growing up out there in New York and Buffalo area, but that JuCo mentality you get, how was that ingrained in you? And how did that kind of form? Like, what kind of mentality did the JuCo level give you?
I went home just pretty much. I went home from JuCo for
Mhm.
Christmas only. That was it. I went home for a week. Was it a week? Maybe not even a week. I went home for at JuCo, and you just don't. You're that's all you at. Like you're in the middle of nowhere. You probably
Mhm.
got Dairy Queen, McDonald's, Pizza Hut to eat from.
Mhm.
So it's pretty much like there's not a lot of people at your junior college. Well, I'm speaking from my junior college. There
Mhm.
wasn't a lot of people at my junior college, so the only thing to do was get in the gym. You're either gonna just do your schoolwork, get in the gym, or you're gonna play video games all day. Like those are only three options. Which one are you gonna put most of your time to? You don't need too much time in schoolwork. Once you get your schoolwork done and once you study, that's done. Now, as far as if you want to pursue your career as in playing basketball, you need to put a lot of effort into that. So what I would do at JUCO is, get my schoolwork done, probably play a little bit of video games, but then I'm going to the gym. And I'm going to the gym for about an hour, maybe 2 hours. Then I'll go back home, get some eats or whatever, chill, probably play a little bit more video games. But at night, I'm gonna make sure I get in there again.
Mhm.
So you pretty much gonna probably get in the gym about 3 times a day by yourself, practice, and by yourself again.
As you said earlier, your main goal for going to JUCO was that you're going to go to a high major school, go to a big program, and become that guy that you're now going to become this year. But that wasn't once again the case. Now God has another 2 years set in store for you to kind of develop and learn and create your own name for yourself. And Hampton's the school you
Yeah.
chose. But what went into that decision? Like, why was Hampton ultimately the school you chose to play out after JUCO?
I've talked to Coach Buck at Hampton and the staff. They had a guy there, Jermaine Merrill, who was really good. After he left, they pretty much like we don't have nobody coming in,
Mm-hmm.
and uh, the other second leading scorer from Hampton ended up leaving as a senior, going graduating and going pro. So there's like we only have this kid right here with 20 points. Our 18 points guy graduated. So we can bring you in, that can be you. So I went into Hampton, I went to Hampton and I thought that was gonna be it. I thought it was gonna be me and him, we were gonna be like Batman and Robin. But then we had this other kid named Ben Stanley who came out of nowhere. We always seen the talent out of Ben, but it has to show in the game. Like it doesn't matter out of the game. So once Ben started rolling, I'm like, okay, I see. And he was a foreman, so Jermaine had the ball most of the time. So Ben is coming to set ball screens. So when that action is happening, you have to adjust. Like they both average 20 plus. Now, would I try to average? Could I say could I have averaged 20? Yeah, but will that have helped the team? I don't think so. I think it probably would have hurt the team because Ben and Jermaine were unstoppable. So my role at Hampton my junior year was pretty much it turned out to be the third guy. I'm gonna be the third threat on the team. So now when Jermaine and Ben are coming off a pick and roll, if my guy want to help the roll, Jermaine to throw it back to me for a three, or he'll throw it back to me and let me do what I do. Just things like that. And then my senior year, like I said, Jermaine left. Now I'm thinking it'll be me and Ben Stanley. Ben Stanley leaves. So now there's a lot on my shoulders. You know what I'm saying, but this is something that's all part of God's plan, you know. So I pretty much just kept grinding, kept working. People used to say, Dave, I see you only averaging about 13 to 15 points this year or this and that. Where in my head, I knew what I was gonna do or what I'm gonna attempt to do. So my role was meant what Coach Buck was trying to get to me. It happened for my junior. It happened my senior year.
Mm-hmm.
It gave me the confidence to commit to the school for me to have the most success my senior year. And I could have had success my junior year, but that wasn't part of what was helping us win, or
Mm-hmm.
at least win a couple of games.
And that's what I love about your game because you're a guy that we know you're going to go to Memphis and predominantly going to be the starting point guard for the team. But because you are a big guard, you're 6'6", 6'7", you're in that high kind of range where you're able to go out and run off ball if you need. Run the two. If you want to run a small 3 out, you can run a 3, obviously, too. You're able to guard
Right.
pretty much 1 to 4, I'd say, even at a high level. But that's
Right.
something that's versatile about you because a lot of guys, especially guys that quote unquote are not able to go to high major, aren't able to do that. So how have you learned to become that versatile? How have you been able to really become a dominant point guard that can run multiple positions and guard multiple positions?
Like we said earlier in the interview, I went from my junior year of high school of being not a 1, not a 2, not a 3 or a 4, and I most definitely wasn't a 5. My senior year, learning and figuring it out, now we can say I'm a 3-man. And mind you, I was 6'3", being a 3-man. At JuCo, I knew it's college, so the stuff that I was doing in high school might not work. So now I gotta be able to put it on the floor. So I just work, at JuCo practices. My coach really sometimes wouldn't let me be the guard because I try to go between the legs, it'll bounce off my foot, go out of bounds. I try to go crossover between the legs, I lose the ball. I get frustrated, but that's when I tell you I'm doing 3 times, 2 times a day in the gym, and I'm working on heavy ball handling, a lot of ball handling, a lot of. I was a guard at a point in time in my life when I was at McKinley. I would say I wasn't tall. I wasn't. I was a little 5'9", chubby kid. So I had to have some type of ball skills,
Mm-hmm.
and I just pretty much kept working. I'm still working to be a very good 6'6", 6'7" point guard.
There's a lot of guys, and overall, I'm kind of excited about the transfer portal. I think it's great to find guys with opportunities. But a lot of guys, we do see some guys that want to move on because they don't really want their own role. They want to be the dominant guy right off the bat. Remember, you obviously saw, like you said, you took the third role. You're okay doing that for the first year. But you go out there and say, okay, yeah, I could score 20 points per game. But I'm gonna go out here. I'm gonna average 6 rebounds per game, 2 assists, still chip in over double-digit scoring too. But you had 5 double doubles in the year. Had a game with 15 rebounds in one game. How have you learned to embrace a role?
Uh, I mean, in a moment, it's just gonna happen in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
You either gonna be a sponge to the moment, or you pretty much gonna be a sink and just let it all out. So you
Mm-hmm.
in a moment, you gotta just okay. So like I tell people now, I realized I was killing in a year, probably midway once I started to see like this is naturally happening.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's when I realized like, all right, this is my road. This is what I'm going to be labeled as. I'm going to be labeled as a 6'7" scorer, point guard guy
Mm-hmm.
that can play on and off the ball, that can play defense. So you pretty much during a moment you're going to know what you are. Like that's just simple.
For a lot of guys out there though that don't want to embrace the role, what's kind of your advice to them? Is that something that you think? Because obviously you do the transfer now, but there's a different reason for that with the extra year going to high major or high mid major. But overall, for other guys, like what's your advice? Should they stick it out? Should they go out and just become the go-to guy at a different level? Like, what would be your own personal thoughts on that?
Uh, it depends. Like
Mhm.
some certain people's situation is different. Like
Yeah.
somebody might be in those Power 5 schools that feel like they can be the man, but if they're not having fun there, then I would recommend, yeah, go somewhere else where you can be the man. But just know that you're going to go be the man, not saying you're going to win. Like you have to win. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So you just have to make sure you're going to go somewhere where you're going to win. Like I would say, you're on the top 25 team in the country. You getting 20, 25 plus minutes a game. Keep that rolling
Mm-hmm.
because you go to these lower major schools, and we see it now. And you average 20, you're not going to like. They're going to question them 20. They're going to question that 20 points. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to say, well, especially if you leave a high major, they're going to say, well, he just left this school. Obviously, he can't do it at the high major. So now that's going. If you want to be a professional, want to be an NBA, that's going to decrease your stock.
Yep.
So you have to pretty much just stick with. If you want to be the man, go somewhere else. If you cool with being an average player on your team and winning, and you know you getting a lot of publicity, like you're over the media, but you average maybe 10 points, 5 rebounds, you feel like you could do more at a lower. I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't do that. I think that's dumb.
Mm-hmm.
I'm staying because we see now there's kids averaging 3 points, first round draft picks, but they're on the top 25 team in the country. they got a lot of potential and they winning. So
Yep.
I pretty much it just know your situation and just don't get too selfish on the situation because we NBA or overseas, I would say more the NBA. They know what they want. Half of the people that get drafted is not going to be the star on the team, and some people don't come to realize that. Like, each team in the NBA has a star. They're not going to come in and step on that star's foot. That's not going to happen. No matter what, he could be playing bad, but they're paying him $30 million to do this. They're not going to start you. It's just not going to happen. So my advice would be just embrace on what you're doing and know your situation. Now, if you're not playing at all, then I would say leave. But if you're playing, you're in a rotation, I would say stay. And if you're at a lower major school and you feel like you could do more, you can leave. But make sure you leave for the best situation. Don't leave to where you're going to decrease your draft stock or your opportunity of making money NBA or overseas.
Couldn't agree more. But I want to go in a couple games specifically from that first year for you out there. Like I said, you had a game where you had 15 rebounds, and yes, you're a big guard, you're 6'6", but that's still something that not even the 7-footers do. That's very few guys in the country that get 15 rebounds in a game, regardless of what your height is. How are you able to go out there and grab 15 rebounds in a game?
Crazy thing, I think that's kind of the best part of my game is rebounding. I think that's something that I do naturally. Is just kind of got a knack for the ball, like the want for to get the ball, the want for that rebound. It's just I don't. To be honest, that's something I can't explain because I feel like that's just natural. Like I just go try to get the rebound in, and I end up with it.
Mm-hmm. There also was another game for you that you had 20 points in. It was your season high for that first year out there. January 4th against Charleston Southern. What went into that game, and how were you able to break out through that game?
Like I said, I was just playing my role. So
Mm-hmm.
I had 20 points. It wasn't like okay, now I'm gonna try to go for 20 again. It wasn't like that. It was it just happened. You know, that 20 points happened that night. I just did my role. Like I said, we will kill you if you're going to keep helping on this road right here. You're going to keep helping on Ben Stanley. Jermaine Merrill is a good enough point guard to pass it. Or if you're going to help so much, Jermaine Merrill is going to get downhill and get a layup, or he's going to get a three. So they helped me get my 20 points. You know what I'm saying? Like the focus on Jermaine and Ben helped me get 20 points. Now, me getting that 20 points can show people that, okay, he obviously works on his game
Mm-hmm.
because 20 points is not easy to get. You have to hit shots to do that.
So then the virus comes into effect, and we know that's lockdown time, and we know you have, well, at that point in time, we don't really know how much time you're going to have off, but we know it's going to be a foreseeable future of being locked down. What was your mentality? Because at that point in time, you knew that Jermaine was obviously going to move on. He was not going to be there. Ben, for a little bit of time there, you knew was going to be possibly a dynamic duo. He was on to Xavier, but what were your thoughts and what kind of was your workout routine? Like, what were you working on, keying in on? Because you knew that your role was going to be very big, and then once Ben left, obviously you knew you were going to be that guy.
I mean, I never switched my workouts. Like same stuff I've been working on before, I was working on coming into this season.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm working on the same stuff. Now we're gonna work on what I need to work on and what else I can learn from the game. That's all it is. Like we're gonna work on the same stuff, but now we're gonna work on what you lack of from that season. And now
Right.
we're gonna improve a couple things or show you different things from the season. So with COVID being out, I pretty much was just a lot of mental, thinking a lot, self-motivated. It was times where I would get up and just go run. Let me just go run. Even though the season doesn't start until, well, forget a season. We didn't even know if we were going to have a season.
Mm-hmm.
So I still was trying to stay ready, I'm going to go shoot some couple shots outside. Let me go do some push-ups and just staying self-motivated, which will help me now.
When you look back at that, before the first game started, did you think you're going to be a guy that's going to go out there and average 21 a game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 steals, a block? Like, did you think you're going to average that good of a line?
Uh, I don't, yeah. I said, yeah, I thought. I don't want to say no. I didn't think that because I thought I was gonna do that.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, I thought so. Like I said, I still haven't had my best season yet since I left high school.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I did average 21 here, but in high school I averaged 24. So I'm in 22. So there's somewhere I feel like it's coming where I'm gonna have my best season yet of college. I haven't had it yet. I don't think this season was my best. I don't.
There's a crazy stat you had. Only 8 games in your entire season this past year was under 20 points. The rest of those 18 games then were above 20. That means that, like you said earlier, yeah, I know some people might say, well, it's not at a high major, it's at a lower
Right.
conference than per se a Big 12, Pac 12, whatever, any of those types of places. But you were still able to scoring. Scoring is scoring. It might judge a little bit, but that's still at the end of the day, you're getting the ball in the basket. How have you
Right.
learned to become that consistent?
Uh, it's just based. You just got to keep working, and as a basketball player, you're gonna want to be consistent. If you want to make money, you're gonna want to make your shots. You're gonna want to do the right thing. So staying consistent pretty much is a mental thing and a physical thing. Like you have to get in the gym to stay consistent. Like you just don't wake up and then I'm gonna be consistent today. You don't do that. You have to. It's gonna work. Like, and it's not gonna happen overnight. And that's something that a lot of players need to realize. Your work is not gonna happen overnight. So the work you do today not gonna help tomorrow. But the work you do today and tomorrow is most likely gonna help you in about a month or two, I would say. So just staying consistent is really just, your work ethic. Make sure your work ethic is consistent. You'll be consistent in game.
How do you stay confident? Because to do that, we know that's not an easy task to do, and that's sometimes or typically is the hardest thing. That's the biggest part of basketball is staying confident in yourself, always working your shot, like that kind of stuff. But you obviously didn't have many bad games. I mean, your quote unquote worst game was 13 points this past year. How
Right.
are you able to stay like so confident though? And if a game does happen where it's not your best performance and not the best game for yourself, how do you still stay confident and go out there the next night and produce?
Um, you, I look at it like I've been playing basketball since I've been in probably what sixth grade, seventh grade, or whatever. I've had bad games in between then. I had great games in between then. So it's like, what you gonna dwell on this bad moment? You either gonna dwell on a bad moment or you gonna dwell on those good moments. And when you dwell on a good moment, you get big headed, and now you kind of lose track of what you really shooting for. You dwell on those moments now, it's like you just got to get over yourself. Like you're not even that important, pretty much. So that's how I used to look at it. When I had a bad game at Hampton, I used to get mad, and then I think to myself like I'm not even that important. So let me just go on the next game, do what I got to do, and we'll see from there.
So then we know that you guys get an extra year eligibility. The NCAA rule comes in, I think a couple weeks into the season, if not right before it. But when you first heard about that, though, what was going through your mind? Did you think you're going to utilize that? Did you think you're going to stay at Hampton an extra year? Did you think you're going to transfer out like you ultimately ended up doing? Like, what were your original thoughts when you heard about that rule?
My mind was racing all over the place. I didn't know, like, I really didn't. It really didn't affect me at the when we first heard about the rule. It affected me at the end of my season. Like, my mind was racing everywhere. Like, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know to try to go pro. I didn't know to go stay at Hampton. I didn't know to transfer schools. I just came to a thought like, you know what? Because of COVID, I look at things as in God eyes. I feel like this is my shot right here. I always wanted to play at one of the highest levels of basketball. That the media portrays as one of the Power Five schools or the American Conference or just a school like that. I just feel like it's my time right now. I got the attention on me. I feel like I am a pro right now. I could go overseas. I may have a shot at an NBA, G League, or whatever. I feel like this is my shot right now to achieve one of my dreams. Another season like I just had today at Memphis, I'm getting drafted. You know what I'm saying? So it's just about believing myself. I'm betting on myself right now, pretty much.
When you first put your name in the portal, what kind of schools were you expecting? Did you think a school of Memphis caliber was going to reach out to you? And I know you had a lot of high majors too, but like, what kind of schools were you thinking were originally going to reach out to you?
To be honest, I didn't think Memphis was going to reach out to me. I didn't have no clue. Memphis is a school that I don't watch often, but they do catch my attention. And they have the little series on ESPN that I've watched before I even had the season that I just had. I used to watch those episodes. So no, a school like I thought most of the Power Five schools were gonna hit me up. I didn't think Memphis was gonna hit me up. That's not a school I thought. But once I put my name in the portal, somebody referred to me like you need to go to somebody that don't even know the staff at Memphis told me a school I can see you playing at is Memphis. He gave me a couple other schools. Memphis was one of the schools that was in there. So to them to actually reach out to me, I'm like, these are all signs. You know, someone else told me Memphis is it. You know, I actually Coach Penny and the staff has actually contacted me. Now, once they contacted me, we get to know each other. Oh, we know a couple of the same people. This coach went to college with my guy from back home, an older guy I know from back home. This coach is cool with a player that I know that I kind of look up to a little bit. So it's pretty much like that caught my attention a lot, you know. So I didn't think Memphis would hit me up, to be honest. I didn't think so.
And I think this is also comparisons to different players and whatnot that may not always be accurate. But at the end of the day, you are a big guard. Penny Hardaway really was the creator of the big guard. How
Right.
much of a
Yeah.
connection was that? I know you guys have had that conversation. I can already imagine. How
Yeah.
much has it been like kind of listening to him and saying, because, you know, he's the guy that him and Magic obviously were two of the guys that really revolutionized this whole big guard era that we now have. Pretty much everyone's a big guard in the NBA and high school, college now. What's the conversation like? Just kind of talking about that aspect.
So it goes back to like we said, from being this kid that's underrated, you know, under the radar, to now I got Coach Penny Hardaway calling me, he's telling me he likes the way I play. He likes my game. So that's telling me like, yo, all the stuff that I'm doing, somebody actually really likes what I'm doing. Like I told Coach Penny, I said, I don't know if you guys actually seen my film or did you guys just looked at my stats, clicked my name, and then gave me a call. Those are two different types of recruiting. Coach Penny and the staff actually watch my film. They seen me. They seen what I need to work on. They seen what type of player I could be. So once he embraced that to me, I'm like, okay, so far I can see you guys are really making sure you're getting the players that you want. You know what I'm saying? You're not just looking at stats and hoping he can do the same thing. So what they seen from me, Coach Penny was saying like he's seen a big guard out of me. He's seen me running the point. He's seen me being a combo guard. He's seen me being that defender that he likes. He see a little. I won't say don't like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying I am him, but he see a couple similarities of how he was a big guard and I could translate my game to similar to how his was. And you know, for me, that's big because like I said, this is Penny Hardaway telling me I could be this and that, or I can do this and that. And I don't feel like he's trying to sell me. I feel like he's keeping it in fact because he wouldn't be wasting his time. He doesn't have anything to lose out this. So that's a reason, one of the reasons why I chose Memphis. I feel like I could be successful there and I could learn a lot, especially from a big guard.
As you said, God kind of just aligned the steps for you to pretty much make it make sense for Memphis to be the school. But were there other schools in the mix? And was there someone else that you'd say was maybe a second favorite option? Like, was there another school that you really did like?
Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas was the number one school on my list, actually. And then it was NC State, Texas A&M, but it really was Arkansas. Arkansas having the NBA coaching staff, you know, they have the whole just NBA style is at Arkansas. You know, that's a great program. They just made it to the Elite Eight. You know, I was tuned in the whole time, just focusing on Arkansas. I probably didn't watch no other game besides the championship if it wasn't Arkansas. So I watched a lot on Arkansas. Throughout the process, the whole coaching staff was talking to me. You know, I seen Arkansas, you know, they FaceTime me. I seen them practicing that during March Madness. And just relationship I had with most of the coaches were all cool at Arkansas and stuff. So Arkansas was pretty much if I didn't go to Memphis, I was most definitely gonna try to get in Arkansas for sure.
Now we have another addition. Now you're gonna have a new team that's coming in with you now, Earl Timberlake, who was a former five-star. He was injured and banged up a lot last year in Miami, but when he did play, it was some special things he was able to go out there and do. So kind of discuss him so far. I know you talked about earlier that you kind of watched some film on him, but have you talked to him at all yet? And if so, if not though, like how excited are you to go play with him?
We haven't talked much. I mean, we followed each other on social media and stuff, and he's a big versatile player, just like me. You know, like what more can you want out of a player? So I feel like, you know, we put our skills together. We could be so crazy in the country like me, the guys that's already at Memphis, they already established what they can do. Now me and Earl and, you know, a couple freshmen that's coming in, we go there and we bring in our help. Think we could be, they were NIT ready. We got guys now who are trying to get to March Madness. So you just put both of those together, that looks like the national championship in my eyes. So pretty much, I think it's going to be a good fit. We pretty much not kind of a similar kind of a players. There's things he do really well that I don't do. There's things I do really well that he may not do. We can help each other out. We can show each other things and just build from there. Make it like a brother relationship.
Since Coach Hardaway's got out there, he's had a couple different obstacles coming his way that we haven't got to see the full Memphis and reach the full capacity yet. We know the first year that was have the number one player in the country, James Wiseman. That whole scenario goes down. Last year, just a mix of COVID and there's a bunch of ups and downs throughout the course of the year. But this is a year that a lot of people are looking at. We know now there's been a lot of guys transfer out of the program from the NIT championship team. But what's it going to take for this group to make it over the hump, make the NCAA tournament, even not just make it, but also make a run in it?
I haven't got there yet, so I really can't tell you what it's going to take. But for my aspect, I would say, we all come in as one. We all come in, work hard, get each other better. I feel like this team could not, I won't say be the same team that Kentucky had in 2015 with Devin Booker, Anthony Davis. I'm not saying we are those players, but I feel like we have the talent that it can kind of be similar to that, to where even when I'm out, let's say I'm out, or let's say Earl is out. Let's say Earl is out. Now I'm in. Now that's a problem. Now I come out of the game. Now Earl is in. That's a problem. So now when you got fire to back up your other fire, I feel like it can be really good. So now there's no drops in the team. Only drops it will be on us.
Throughout the rest of your year there, we know you're going to bring in a lot to that aspect. I mentioned you're a 20-plus point per game scorer type of guy. You're a guy that can be a lockdown defender, a great rebounder, really a do-it-all player. But overall, though, give Memphis fans what they can expect from you. Like, what's a few things that Memphis fans can count on you for?
Just my effort. I won't even say points. I won't even say, rebounder, that's part of effort. Playing defense, that's part of effort. I would not say points yet, because we don't know. You know what I'm saying? We don't know. Yeah, I had an outstanding year, but like I said, we don't know. But one that I can guarantee you guys is my effort, on and off the court, me being a good guy, just my love for it, my passion for it, and just pretty much my effort, like, and my passion for it. That's what I can guarantee you guys.
Without a doubt. Well, a few more things before I let you go. One of which is kind of discussing your legacy, because I know that's something that ultimately all guys want to do and create for themselves. So when you are done playing basketball someday, what do you ultimately want to be remembered for what you achieved both on and off the court?
I just want to be remembered for just a guy that got it from the mud, like somebody that worked from nothing to being something. Like, there's so many kids right now that's going through what I'm going through right now that just haven't got to this point yet. So I want to be remembered as I was one of those players. So when there is a kid thinking like, man, I don't have no D1 offers, I'm at high school, I don't have this and that, I want somebody to say, look up Davion Warren. That's who I want to be. That's the person I want to be. When it stopped, like, I have a son now too, so I could tell I didn't get it so easy. So my son's not going to be able to get it easy. And if he does get it easy, it's because I've made it easy for him. So, pretty much, I just want to be that guy to know that this guy worked. Like, I worked hard for what I accomplished.
How have you just being dad now? Take us through that and what it's been like really taking on the dad role.
It's cool. Sometimes it's annoying because I'm still young. So, for the most part, it's fun, but it gives you that something to go do something for. Like I said, like, I want to make sure my son is good, and I obviously want him to play basketball. So I'm gonna try to stick around this thing as much as I can, because that's where he would be. So it's been fun. I wanna be successful. I wanna go make as much money as I can. And then I just wanna invest in him. Like, that's really my goal, is to play as long as I can, but I'm gonna make him what I wanted to be from the beginning. So that's what it's like for me.
I
It's
know you're
cool.
also a believer, so kind of talk about your faith a little bit. How have you seen God kind of impact your life and help get you to the point you're at today?
Actually, I always believed in God. I wasn't a kid that prayed at night. I wasn't a kid to read my Bible, but I've always just had that belief in God, because that's just how I grew up. I started going through a couple of tries. It all started at JuCo once I started picking at the Bible a little bit, and I just started seeing things. God give you signs, and before I had my son, that's when I really start picking up the Bible. So before I had my son, I would always read the Bible and read scriptures, and it's always talking about mankind or king or something manly made. And I was telling my girlfriend like, bro, we're having a boy. Like I don't know what it is, but that I feel like God is telling me we're having a boy. Every scripture I read is about this or that, or you know what I'm saying, it's about a boy or a man. So I would just say like it's just throwing signs, and sometimes and there's moments where this is true. Well, you will pray every day and then get successful, and then you will forget to pray. So I've been in that moment before. I would pray. I would pray. God, I pray to be so successful. I pray, and then I got to a point to where I didn't forget to pray, but I wouldn't pray. You know, and just things start getting miserable for me. Like I'm like, bro, why is this? Why am I feeling like this? Why am I? Someone, and I was on the phone. Someone like, yeah, man, make sure you still praying. I'm like, man, that's what I need to do. Like that's what I've been lacking for these past 4 days. I haven't been praying. I haven't been picking up my Bible. You know what I'm saying? So, God has changed a lot for me. It changed me as a person. It just gave me faith. I feel like if you put your faith in God, you'll be able to achieve so much. You'll probably be able to achieve more than what you even thought you could.
Amen, man. Is there one specific time where you look at that you kind of see that God really showed up in your life at one point? Like obviously he does it a lot throughout everyone's life, but is there like one specific moment that you really saw God working?
Right now, He's working right now. Everything I've been praying for is coming true. I prayed to be good in basketball. It's coming true. I prayed to have a beautiful family, beautiful kid. It came true. I prayed to be, a good kid. I prayed to mature. I prayed to prosper. It's all happening. It's not happening overnight, because it's not. But it's happening. It's still in the works right now. Things I prayed for years ago are starting to happen now. Financially, like if I'm asking God to maybe help me financially, He might not necessarily just come put $100,000 in my pocket. He might make me a better basketball player, to where now I'm going to be able to benefit from my family. So I would say now is where I kind of could see to where it's like you've been real, but it's like you're really real. Like you get what I'm saying? To where I see, okay, he actually hears me. He knows who I am. You have to God know who you are, but he also wants you to reach out to me. Let me know you know that I'm real. So I can come alive to you and show you that I am real.
And that's something key because a lot of believers know that obviously you can kind of go up and down in your relationship with God, but a lot of people that kind of new into the faith and not as strong will say it's not happening overnight. Is God real?
Uh,
They start testing him and all that, but everyone that truly is ingrained God has had a build a relationship with him knows that it could happen overnight. He's not like he can't do that. He's obviously produced many miracles before, but sometimes it
I
could
don't
be a couple days, couple weeks, couple months, couple years even. How have
right.
you though like learned to stay patient, kind of trusting God?
Uh, it's just some. I just learned that through myself. Like a lot of things I learned from like literally myself. Like just you know, I won't say myself because I'm living life. So I actually see things. Like I said, God helps me learn from it. So like I said, I don't go to church. I don't go to church. Easter, I'm not going to church. Christmas, I'm not going to church. But that's not saying that's not making my relationship with God good or not. Me reading my Bible, that's our relationship right there. Because some people will go to church only on Easter. I only go there because it's Easter, so I'm gonna go to church. Or I'm only gonna go. So I won't say I won't go, but I will go, but I don't get up every Sunday to go do that or sometime on Wednesdays or whatever. But I do know God, let God know that I am with you. So, like I said, just make sure you read your Bible, make sure you stay faithful. And it's just beyond that. Like you can't go read your Bible and then not hold this door for this elderly lady. You can't do that. You're like that's backwards. You read your Bible and he tells you to be faithful and do stuff like that. You have to go do things like open up this door for this lady. That's how you get your blessings.
Absolutely, man. One final thing for you. Give Memphis fans your three biggest goals you have set for your 1 year there.
Um, National championship That's the number one goal is the national championship. You know, to be ranked top 25 the whole year. You know, you could win a national championship not being top 25. My third goal is to just make a name for myself in the city, like stamp my name in the city. Those are my three goals. I want to stamp my name at Memphis. I want to win a national championship, and I want to also be a top 25 team in the country.
Absolutely, man. Well, congratulations on the transfer once again, and appreciate taking time to come on today. And I'm excited to see what God got next for you, man. Of
Yes, sir. Thank you.
course, always welcome on, man. God bless.
All right. God bless you as well, bro.